Good morning, everybody. Denise with Lazy K Homestead. Well, hope you guys are doing well on this cold, frosty morning in Tennessee. Well, it's supposed to get up to 49 degrees today. We had a real hard frost last night. So I said to Willis, it feels like a chicken and dumpling day. So here we go with what we're going to make, chicken and dumplings from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to use my Instapot. Now, if y'all don't have an Instapot, you can just use a regular stock pot. And what you want to do first, let me turn this around so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. I've got my Instapot here, and I've got a family pack of chicken thighs, and they're all rinsed. I rinse my meat every time before I use it. I just like to because, you know, they're at a butcher, and they can have little pieces of bone or whatever. So it's just always a good habit, I think, to get into to rinse your meat. I've got my Instapot here, and I've got my little trivet in there, and this makes it a lot easier to pull the chicken out when it's done. And that's the first step. We're going to go ahead and put the chicken in here. Get my tongs. Now you can use your fingers, it's up to you, whatever you want. But I am just, I don't have my Instapot on yet, but I'm just going to put all these thighs, and they have the skin on because the skin is your flavor. And they are going to go ahead and pressure cook in here in the Instapot for 40 minutes. And that will bring it to the point where they fall off the bone. Delicious and a lot easier to pick the meat off the bone. And we'll discard the bones and the skin. Okay, I've got that in there. And we are going to put 6 cups of water, and that brings it up to about the max in my Instapot. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some thyme, just ground thyme. I don't put my onion or garlic or carrot or anything at this point, because basically I am just boiling or pressure cooking these chicken thighs to get them to where I can get the bone from the meat. And then we'll go with that next step with all the other goodies. So it's just a little salt and pepper. And it looks like that got a little water on it. So let me get some salt out of the cupboard. I don't know. Let's see. Just a little salt. Always enhances the flavor. I'll put that over there so I'll remember to take care of that. Okay, so if you're not using Instapot, you just have your stock pot and you just cover your thighs with water. It doesn't have to be a lot of, water, at least 6 cups, because you're going to use that juice for your broth. And what you're basically making is a bone broth that you're going to use after you take the chicken out. And you're going to strain it, and it'll be nice and clear. So we're going to put our lid on. Make sure that you are on sealing. Seal. You don't want it to vent because you'll lose all your steam and it won't work. So you just put your lid on. And I'm going to go to pressure cook, normal. And it's already set for 40 minutes for me. And I'm just going to let it do its thing, and then we'll be back. Okay, in the meantime, what we're going to do is prep our vegetables. This is a really simple recipe. It's all from scratch, and it's really fast and easy, and it tastes so good, and it's very comforting. I would consider it comfort food. So if you guys have time to make this, oh man, your family will be so happy. I know Willis is. And even if it's just you, just make it for yourself and enjoy it. The fruits of your labor. So what I need here, let's see if I can get this thing, see what I'm doing. I need 1 onion, 1 clove of garlic. I couldn't say that very well. And 2 carrots. I need some butter. And after a while, we will need some self-rising flour, and I use white lily. Okay, so what we're going to do first, here's my clove of garlic. If you guys have never, if you don't know how to peel the garlic, this is a really easy tip. It's got the little paper peel on it still, you can see. So what you do is you just have it there. You have your knife blade down away from you and you just hit it. Okay, there you go. And you just peel the garlic paper right off. It's really nice. These are garlic cloves that we grew ourselves. I didn't grow any this winter because we had so much. We had such a nice harvest. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mince this really well. And I'll put it in my bowl here. And I'm going to just put my carrots, my onion, and my garlic in the same bowl. So I'm just going to mince it. I don't want a lot of garlic chunks, even though once it goes through the Instapot, it'll pretty much dissolve, but I don't want it to be too garlicky. And this is a very mild garlic that we grew, so it won't overpower the onion or the chicken or anything like that. So I'm just really finely mincing it. Yeah, it smells so good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put that in my bowl. Now, because I'm just cutting vegetables on this cutting board, I can use it for all three things. If I were to be cutting meat on it, I would have to use another cutting board or wash in between. Okay, and I've got my little plate over here for my compost. We had eggs earlier, and I had tea, and I went ahead and took my tea out of my tea bags. I just put it on there, and I take it out and put it in my compost. I have a 5-gallon bucket on my back porch with a lid, and I just put things in there until I can get down to the compost pile that we have. Ooh, that's a strong onion. All right. And this is just cut finely. It's just little chunks. You know, if you guys want to have chunkier veggies in your soup broth that you're going to have, then you can do that. Ooh, it's making me cry. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I may not need all that onion. Ooh, that is really strong. Let me go over here and rinse my hands real quick. Ooh. Now I have read that you can, when your onion is making you cry, you can wash your hands and then run your hands on your faucet if it's metal. So I just did that, and it seemed to help. So I don't know if that's real or if I just got away from the onion. Okay, so the rest of that is going in there. And then I'm going to need 2 carrots, just kind of a medium-sized carrot. I'm going to go ahead and peel these. Now I want these to be, I like the look of carrots and things floating in your soup. I think it's pretty. Because really, when you're making chicken and dumpling, it's all white, except for the broth may have a little bit of yellow to it from the fat of the chicken. So you want a little color, because you know, we eat with, when you look at something, your mind is eating that already. I have read that when we look at food, we've already decided to eat it or not. And the way that it looks is going to dictate whether we want to or not, if it looks satisfying or not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. I also use a little bit of parsley in this too to give a little green. All right, so just going to go ahead and cut this. They're kind of thin, but again, you know, if you guys want chunkier veg, that's up to you. You do whatever, you know, you think you want in yours. Oh, I'm sorry about sniffling, but boy, that onion really got to me. All right, so I'm just going to put all this in here. I've got garlic, onions, and 2 carrots. And we will wait until our chicken is done, and I'll be back. Okay, so the Instapot has cooked, and I let it cool for 44 minutes, and that way there was no pressure on there. And I went ahead and turned it to vent, and any little pressure that was on there, I went ahead and let it release. Most of the time I just let meat naturally release because it does cook it better. Okay, now I'm going to take off my lid. And this is going to have some hot steam, so you guys be careful. I try to always warn people of that. I'm just going to go ahead and take these chicken thighs out. And I'm going to put it in a colander, and I'm going to let it drain. Now they're going to fall apart, but that's what you want. You want it to fall apart and have that meat come off the bone easy. And it's going to be so tender when you go to make your chicken and dumplings. All right. Now I did put that little trivet in here so I can pull it out. I just want to make sure I get all the thighs because it's going to be hot. So, not too bad. Well, I guess they were so tender they just went right through that. Okay, so I've got everything in this big bowl. And I'm going to go ahead and pour the juice on top of that too. And it's going to go through that colander. I might need to have a, let me just use here. You can use your pot holders, or I'm going to use a towel. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour that over that. It's going to go right through there into that bowl like so. Because I'm going to need the bowl. All right, and right next to it, if you can see, I've got another bowl there, kind of a low profile bowl. I'm just going to go ahead and put this whole thing over there. And I'm going to let this chicken broth that we now have for our chicken and dumplings, I'm going to let everything cool, and I'm going to be able to handle it that way. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and wash this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my Instapot bowl nice and clean for the next step. Now this is kind of a one-pot meal. I do everything, cook everything in here, even the dumplings. But you do have to, take it out and wash it, things like that, because I don't really want to dirty up any more pots and pans. All right, so what I'm going to do now is saute my vegetables, and I'm going to use a half a stick of butter. I use real butter and then put it on the saute on my Instapot right there. Now, if you don't have your Instapot, again, guys, you just go ahead and use a skillet to saute your vegetables in. Okay. All right, so let me just go ahead and let that melt a little bit. Let me come over here and grab a wooden spoon because that's my favorite implement. And we are going to get this nice and melted. And let me see here. This is set at 30 minutes, so that's how long it'll be on for saute, but you can always turn it down or turn it off after you've gotten to where you want your vegetables to be. Okay, it says it's on. And I'm going to have it on less. I just turned it on less down there, right here. You've got normal, less, normal, more. And the way you do that is you press your saute button and then it'll go. So that means it'll be a lower temperature. Normal or high will be like medium or high if you had it on your stove. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pour my veggies in here. And that, again, is my onions, my garlic, and my carrots. So I've got them in there. Let's see if I can put that over there so you can see them. There they are. And I'm going to let that saute. I don't use any celery in this. I do use a little celery seed, but not much. Just a teeny tiny bit if I want to. And I don't think I'm going to use celery seed today. I'm going to use a little bit of sage because I don't have parsley like I said at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to use a little sage because I just want a little teeny bit of green. And I might use a teeny bit of basil because it all is a really good flavor to enhance your chicken. And that's what you want. But you don't want to overpower your chicken and dumplings. Now, I know a lot of people that don't use garlic or onions or anything like that. They just basically make the broth, the chicken, and the dumplings, which is fine too. And that's a very traditional way to make it. But I do like to have a little bit of spice in mine. So I'm going to go ahead and let this saute down. And we'll be back. Okay, while that's sauteing, I'm checking the chicken to make sure it's to the point where I can handle it to remove any meat or the fat, which is the skin. And I put that in a separate bowl. And then I put the meat over in another bowl. And the bones will go in with the skin. And you can either throw that away or do whatever you want to with it. We give it to our dogs because they do like it. I don't give them the bones, but I give them the skin. Any gristle, that kind of stuff. They do like it. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to separate the meat from the bones. And again, you make sure it's not too hot to handle because you don't want to burn yourself because this just did come out of a pressure cooker. And I don't know if you guys can see, but these bones are coming right out. So, and after I have separated everything, I'll go through it again just to make sure that there's no fat or skin or anything like that in my meat, because to me it's kind of gross if you have skin floating in your chicken and dumplings. Willis said that his grandmother-in-law used to just have the bones and the chicken and everything in there. But, you know, back in the day, people cooked like that, and that was fine for them. Today we're, I don't know, maybe should I say a little bit more picky? I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about that because believe me, guys, I grew up with an aunt that made tuna fish gravy. That was pretty gross. And we ate that all over bread. So we survived. We did okay. But this is just the way that I make it. So I hear my vegetables sauteing in there. They smell really good. The kitchen smells so good with the onions and garlic. Oh my gosh. So here we go. A lot of fat in there. You just want to make sure you get that out and put your meat in a separate bowl. Okay. It's nice when it just falls off the bone like this and you really don't have a lot of work to go through all this and separate because it's right there for you, already separated. That's one of the reasons I like the Instapot so much. Now, you know, Instapot is kind of relatively new, I guess. I don't know, 10 years now or more. But, you know, when I was a young woman, even a young teenager, my mom had a pressure cooker. And people use pressure cookers all the time. And it made meals a little faster. I think that Instapot is a little bit more refined than a traditional pressure cooker. Go ahead and stir that around so there you can hear it sizzling. I want to get these to where they are nice and translucent, which is kind of see-through. Now the carrots of course won't, but the carrots will get a little bit of the fry saute on them, and I think it brings out the sweetness of the carrots, and that's what I like. Even when I make soup, I like to saute my vegetables in a little bit of butter because I think it just brings out the sweetness of the vegetable itself. That's something I came up with. I'm sure it's been out there for a long time, but for me as a home cook, I came up with it, and I thought that it was kind of neat, and it made everything taste better. So, but you can boil your stuff. It's up to you, you know. Each to their own. But I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm really getting a lot of meat here from these thighs. And again, this was a family pack. I bought it locally at one of our small hometown grocery stores, and the whole pack was only $5.53. So this is a really economical meal. I always have onions and carrots and, of course, the broccoli on hand. I've got celery. I always keep celery and onions, carrots on hand because it's something that I use in almost everything I cook, especially the onions. So if you are looking for something to cook and you've got kind of your, like Witchy Poo's down here, I'll give her a piece of this chicken. I don't know if you guys noticed, but she's in almost all my videos walking, and I don't even notice it. She's my black cat. She's always in everything. But anyways, what I was going to say about the onions and stuff, it's just kind of like your standard ingredients that you keep on hand. I think that it's important that we, as homesteaders, make sure that we've got that in our cupboard. And even if you're not a homesteader or a farmer and you're a home cook, keep some basic ingredients in your pantry. Keep your spices up to date. Keep everything filled as much as you can. I mean, you may not have as many spices as I do, but it's just good to keep your basics, even if it's just salt and pepper. Salt and pepper and onions and carrots and celery. You don't have to have garlic. You can have garlic powder or garlic salt, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I have got my chicken separated. Here we are. Looks good. And here's my bones and my skin. I'll just put that over there. And I'm going to bring my cutting board over here that I used earlier. I went ahead and turned it over. And what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and put some of this chicken on here and go through it again. I'm going to bring my bowl back just in case there's something I don't like. Sometimes I don't like the look of some of the chicken that's closer to the bone. Sometimes it looks a little dark for me. But that's me. It may not bother anybody else, but for me it does. So make sure I got all the gristle, that kind of stuff out of here. And any skin that I might have missed. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. All right, so what I'm going to do now, just going to give this kind of a rough chop. Just to kind of, because I don't want it to be like super thin or anything. I want it to have texture. All right, that's good. All right. So these vegetables are nice and translucent, and I'm just going to go ahead and put my chicken meat in the Instapot. Let me turn this so y'all can see what I'm doing. Just put it right in there on top of your onions, your garlic, and your carrots. Okay. I'll bring this forward here so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. See it in there? Yum. And then I will take my spoon and just mix it around and get that all nicely incorporated together. Now at this point I'm going to go ahead and put some salt and pepper, and any meat that looks like it's a little bit too chunky, and just kind of chopping it down in there. Okay. All right. Let's see. Salt and pepper, where did you go? Oh, there they are. I'm behind you guys because my salt had gotten wet earlier. So I'm just going to put some salt in here to taste. And this is probably going to be a good teaspoon maybe of salt. And of course, as I'm cooking it, I'll taste it and see if I need to add more. Pepper. Probably, I like a lot of pepper in my stuff, so I'll just say this is probably going to be a teaspoon of pepper. Level teaspoon, not heaping. But we do like a lot of flavor in our stuff. Okay. All right, that looks like about a teaspoon to me. Gonna go ahead and add some ground sage. Just a sprinkle, because sage is pretty strong. Gonna mix that around in there, and I'm also going to add thyme. I love thyme. I think it really enhances the flavor of meat, and you can use it for almost any meat. Beef, pork, chicken, alligator. I don't see where it wouldn't work. It's a really good spice. It's a good herb to grow. It's something that lasts a long time in your herb garden. I had mine last about 5 years, and I had to replant. So, oh gosh, this smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. All right, and let me see. I think I said I was going to put a little teeny bit of basil in here. So here's some sweet basil. Yeah, that'll just give it a little yummy flavor there. I don't put a whole lot of these spices in because I don't, again, want it to overpower. All right, so there we go. I'm going to let that cook down a little bit. I'm going to wash my hands. All right, because it was touching meat. I probably should have. I did wipe my hands off, but I should have washed them. So shame on me. But I did wash them before I went any further. And I will wipe off all the other stuff too. Okay, so the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get a colander, put it over this, and then I'm going to pour my juice in on top. So what I'm going to use is one of these mesh colanders that I have. It's very fine, like so. And I'm turning the saute off, cancel. And I am going to ladle it in here until I can get to the point, or maybe I will use, I'll use one of these because it is a lot of juice. And I want it to go in here, and I don't want to have an accident with the juice, because this is bone broth and it is so good, and it's full of good vitamins and good just good yummies. And you made it yourself, and it wasn't hard to do. You just boiled your chicken down. You can go and you can of course buy your broth in the store if you don't want to go this route. But if you're gonna make this meal, you're gonna have to boil your chicken anyway, so why not use that broth? And it was from scratch. Okay, I think this is where I can handle it now and just pour it in here through my colander, and I'll show you why I did that. Because I didn't want all of this in there. Now, it's really nothing bad, but it's just, I didn't want that in there. I wanted that to be out, and I will make sure it goes in the trash. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put this back on saute, and I'm going to have it on normal, because basically this is just cooking. And if it gets to where it lets me know hot on here it'll say hot, I'll turn it down. And I'm just letting this cook together, letting all these yummy vegetables and meat marry all the flavors. Let me go ahead and do a quick taste. Oh, that's good. I may need a little bit more salt. There you go. I may not have put exactly a teaspoon in there. I may need actually more than a teaspoon, but it's up to you guys. I do everything to taste unless I'm baking. And then when I'm baking, because it's more of a science baking, I do things to taste. Okay. I think that'll be good. And Witchy Poo is down here going, please let me have some more. Here you go, Witchy Poo. Let me let you guys see her. She's down here begging. She wanted to go off camera this time. Sorry, Witchy Poo. Here you go. Over there. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a few minutes. I just want to let this come to a boil so everything marries, like I said, and then we'll start on our dumpling. Okay, guys, well, we've got this nice and boiled, and I let it boil for about 30 minutes. You see it's still boiling. And I went ahead and turned it back on the saute. Let's see if I can get that so you can see it better. There you go. And what I'm going to do now is add some thickening to it. And I use flour. You can use cornstarch. It's up to you. And I've got about 1 heaping tablespoon of flour in here. And this is a 1 cup measure. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill it up with milk. Like so. And I use 2% milk most of the time. I've just gotten used to it over the years. You can use goat's milk, whatever milk. You can use evaporated milk. You know, it's completely up to you, whatever you've got on hand. So, just mixing this around. And I'm going to pour it in there. Now, flour will lump, so you do have to mix it pretty good. So, I'm just stirring it around really good with a fork. And just to kind of counteract the lumps, I'm going to use one of my mesh. I love these things. I got them at a yard sale or a flea market or something way back in the day. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and pour my milk into my boiling broth. It's got my chicken in. Okay. There you go. And you can kind of smash that through too if you want to. There you go. That works really good. Get all that good flour in there. All right, stick that in my dishes over here. I have to do dishes by hand now. Poor me, because my dishwasher decided to bite the big one again. All right, and I'm just going to mix this around. Okay. And I'm going to let it cook because I want that flour taste to come out of it. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put this on less on the saute on my Instapot. And it will, now you don't have to actually even add a thickening agent to this. Some people just use the bone broth or the broth itself. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. This is just something that I like to do, and it's my recipe. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and let that cook down. And in the meantime, we're going to make the dumplings that are going to go in on top of this. So, I'll be right back. Okay, we're over at the island, and we're going to go ahead and make the dumplings. So, I'm going to go ahead and put my tripod down so you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. I think that's good. Okay, what I've got here is 2 cups of self-rising flour. I went ahead and sifted it because I've noticed that lately my flours that I've been buying have had some hard little pieces of flour in it. And that just eliminates that. Okay, and what I add to it is 1 egg, 1 whole egg that I'm going to go ahead and mix. I like to add eggs to my dumplings because it makes them light and fluffy. This is so easy. So you've got 2 cups of self-rising flour, you've got 1 egg, and then you pour in milk. Now this milk was frozen because I had it in the freezer. And if I need to add any more liquid to it, I will add water. And I probably am not because it's going to be thick. Kind of the consistency of a little bit thicker than pancake batter. You can see what it looks like. And these are going to be your dumplings. Let me see if I can get a little bit more milk out of there. Oh yeah, that'll probably be good. Like I said, you can use evaporated milk, whole milk, skim milk, whatever you like. Okay, and this is what you want. This is going to be your dumplings. Okay, that's it. These are called fluffy dumplings. There are different kind of dumplings you can make. There's rollout dumplings. I don't really care for them, but of course it's up to you guys, whatever you prefer. This is what I like. My stepmom taught me these a long time ago, and it's just something I prefer. I think they're really tasty. Okay, so let's come back over here. We've got our Instapot here, and I just have a regular lid that's to one of my stock pots. It's clear, and that's what I like to use. Okay, so what we're going to do is put this back on less on here, and I'm going to take this down to probably 10 minutes. It's on the saute again, and because it will get hot because this is already hot. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just take a spoon and into our broth right here, we are going to just drop these dumplings. And it's as simple as that. They just drop. Drop. And you just kind of drop them around in there. Drop them around in a circle. You don't want to drop them on top of each other if you can help it. But they will form lovely dumplings. It'll almost look like biscuits on top when they're finished. And what I do is after I'm finished putting this dumpling dough in here, I'm going to put my clear stock pot lid back over it, and it will have a steam effect, and it will cook them. So I got one more. So that's probably, let me see if I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 dumplings I've got in there. All right, this is what it looks like. Kind of messy, you think, but wait till you see the finished product. I'm just going to go ahead and put this lid on here, and it will steam them, and they will be delicious. So we'll be back as soon as they're done. Probably 20 minutes maybe. I'll let you know precisely when we're back. Okay, guys, it's been about 15 minutes, and I'm going to uncover this. I ended up putting this on the steam on here on the Instapot. Took it off the saute because it did tell me it was hot, and steam is basically what I really wanted. Now, if you're doing this in a stock pot, you're going to put it down on medium-low, and you'll do the same thing. You're going to put a, if you have a clear stock pot lid over it. I think most of them do come with them now. It's because you want to be able to kind of monitor if it is cooking right. Okay, so I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to take my wooden spoon, and you see they're done. If they are hard like that, I mean, I'm not talking hard, but you know they're cooked. Okay? So let's go ahead and take some of this out. I'm going to take a dumpling first. Look at that dumpling. Isn't that nice? Looks just like a biscuit. A steamed biscuit. And I'm going to come down here and get some of this wonderful broth with the chicken. And I'm going to just add a little pepper to it. Not much pepper coming out of there, but just a little pepper. And this is my chicken and dumplings. And there you have it. Let me try it. Oh, look how nicely that cut. Let me try it. It's going to be hot. Oh, man. That is so good. And so hot. Well, let me just show you how these dumplings just cut. They're just so tender. I'm just cutting it with a spoon. And this is what it looks like. It's done inside. So there's your chicken and dumplings, guys. I hope you'll try that. It's a from scratch, easy recipe. It maybe took an hour, but you know, an hour of your time, if you put a Stouffer's meal in, it's going to be an hour, about a Stouffer's lasagna. So give this a try. If you have any comments or questions, I'll be so happy to help you. You have a great day. Lazy K Homestead. Bye.